Jack Ryan is one of the hottest new contenders at the Emmys this year in the drama series race. It has been nominated for Screen Actors Guild Awards and a Critics' Choice Award. I'm Riley Chow of Gold Derby, here with Dina Shihabi, who plays Haneen. You were actually the recipient of that Critics' Choice Award. So how did you find out about that nomination?
It was actually really funny because I woke up that morning and I had all these texts.
Oh. It's gone. Oh, back.
Yeah, my phone said it needed an update and it had to turn off to update. And so I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to do this now. And so for an hour, I was just off the grid and I turned on my computer and all of these like emails started coming in and everyone was like, where are you? Like the one time we have to contact you, I got a hold of you. And so then my publicist FaceTimed me because I was like, oh, my phone's being updated. And he FaceTimed me and told me, and I was really, truly shocked. It was very unexpected. I had no idea that was coming in that day. It was pretty amazing. It was just so cool to call my family and like celebrate with them. And it was pretty amazing. It's just like, you know, you never know how people will receive what you do. And then for it to be recognized like that is a pretty special thing.
And how was the ceremony?
It was great. I mean, me and my mom went and we dressed up. Funnily enough, John Krasinski and his partner, Allison Seeger, who's now one of my best friends, and that whole producing team, which was the same producing team on Jack Ryan, they were nominated for A Quiet Place. And so they were there and they won. So it was really cool because, you know, they're so dear to me. And so it was kind of amazing to share that with them. And I ran into so many people I knew, and that was just so wild. It's so wild to feel like you're really a part of the world, you know, like a part of the like artistic Hollywood acting world. That's something I've always wanted. And so I had this moment where I was like, whoa, I'm here with all these people. Because I don't know if you know, but I was born in Saudi Arabia and I was raised there and in Dubai. And it was kind of a crazy dream to tell my family that I was just going to go become an actor. And there were so many moments along the way where they were just like, how are you going to do that? You know, I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any sort of in. So to be there with my mom and to just know that I was there because I was nominated and I know all these people, it just felt really cool to just like tap into like little Dina back in Saudi Arabia and be like, you weren't crazy, maybe a little bit, but it worked out, or it's, you know, it's moving. So that was really surreal, really, really surreal.
Have you noticed any difference in your career path now that you've gotten that Critics' Choice nomination?
I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to tell what exactly shifts. I'm definitely, the auditions I'm going out for are incredible. So I feel like the quality of work that's coming my way is like pretty special. I really think the Altered Carbon thing, the way it happened and the way the showrunner was really rooting for me and really kind of put things in place that I would do it. That was really cool. I like even things that I wanted and asked for, I got. And in the past, it was sort of like, well, this is what you get. And so you're welcome. And so to be able to collaborate with someone in that way and to be a part of the process, I think that is a big difference. I think you're just taken a little more seriously. So that's really cool. I don't feel like I'm proving myself in the same way. I think before Jack Ryan, I was like, I just want people to know I can act, you know? And now that's not what I'm thinking about all the time. I'm thinking like, all right, what is really going to challenge me and really ask a lot of me, because I just want to keep growing. So that's shifted. And I've met one cool thing that's happened is that after Jack Ryan, I got to go out and like meet all these incredible female executives that my agency set up, and that was really cool. And I feel like that wouldn't have happened without Jack Ryan. So it feels like there's been a shift, but it's kind of subtle and it's sort of internal, and it's cool. It feels really good to be on the path and not like trying to jump on the path, you know? But I still feel like there's a lot I want to happen and a lot I want to do, you know?
Yeah, I'm wondering about the roles that you read for before Jack Ryan. Like, were they always characters like of your ethnicity, or was it kind of just for whatever?
I think it's always been a mix, actually, which I've always appreciated, because sometimes the best role isn't the Arab character in a show. I think in Jack Ryan, that my character was the one that most excited me out of the female characters in the show. So that was really cool, because that doesn't happen very often, where you have a female Arab woman, Muslim woman driving the story. And that's what I'm really interested in, those roles that are complex and given a lot of space to really have like conflict and change and go on a true journey, and not someone that's just sort of like filling a spot, or is part of just another character's journey and doesn't really have her own. So whether that role is Arab or not, what's important to me is that it has a significant reason to be there. And so yes, I think one thing is, before Jack Ryan, the roles I would get were probably only going to be Arab roles, because I speak the language, and that's sort of like what people knew me as. And I think now the goal is to expand that a bit and do that, but also do like an Altered Carbon there's like no mention of where I'm from. I mean, I'm an AI, so that's really cool. And I think once you prove yourself as an actor, I think that has an impact on people trusting you with other roles too. It's not so much about you just sticking to the ethnicity thing. It's about, can you really bring this person to life? And I think if you really honor that with any role that you do, it has a ripple effect, and then you get to do it with something that's different than you. Yeah.
What are your memories of Arab characters on television and American film growing up? And like, are there any in particular that kind of stick out in your memory?
I mean, there was one, and it was the one on Lost. What was his name?
Saeed?
Saeed, yeah. And he was, I think, Indian. He was an Indian actor, but he played an Iraqi character. And so for us, that was huge, you know? And besides that, I don't really have a memory of a character that was that important to a story. And that was kind of daunting, because there's always this feeling when you don't see yourself represented on screen, you don't really know if you belong there. And so moving across the world and becoming an actor, you have this sort of worry that you don't know if you can be accepted for who you are. And so there was a moment where I just kind of thought, oh, I have to be the thing that everyone wants. And then you quickly realize that that gets you nowhere. And actually what really has an impact is characters like Hanim, characters that really represent us in a truthful way. And that's starting to change, that's starting to happen. And that's really, really exciting. I feel like we're seeing more and more Arab characters on screen now, and the feeling of that is huge. It's so important. I think it's underestimated. It was underestimated in the past how important it is to just see yourself on screen. See someone, I would remember I would look for the credits and wait to see someone's name that looked like mine. And in anything, in like the director, editor, writer, and it was so rarely there, if at all. So I hope I hope because it's changing, that'll inspire more people into doing it, you know?
When you come over to a show like Jack Ryan, where you probably only get the first script or maybe the first couple, you don't know the whole arc of the character necessarily. Like, did it make a big difference with Carlton Cuse and Graham Rowland, the showrunners, coming from Lost?
They were amazing. I mean, yeah, because Lost was my favorite show. So when I got this job, I couldn't believe it. I remember I went to dinner at Carlton's house and he was showing me around and he was like, and this is my room of Lost memorabilia. And I was like, I like almost had to like hold the wall because I was like, what? It's like that moment at the Critics' Choice where you're like, oh my God, like I was obsessed with that show. And now I'm in Carlton's house and I'm in this show. It was just, that part of it was crazy to me. But I loved the pilot episode. And honestly, what made me trust it and what made me know it was special was how they took care of Haneen. How they really, usually the wife of a terrorist on a show is just a victim. And she's in the corner, like scream crying and like shouting in a language that not many people understand. And so you just have this one view of her and you don't get to connect to her and see yourself in her because she's so much of another. But with Jack Ryan, even the way you meet her playing soccer with her kids, seeing the fear of what's happening around her and really learning about who she is through what she will do for her children, but also what it cost her. They really gave her so much life. And that to me made me know that it would be different. And they were so collaborative too. Anything I had a question about or anything I wanted to be included or taken out, they never hesitated. They were so incredible to work with. And Carlton got to direct me. The first time he's ever directed, or actually maybe that's not true. I think he's maybe directed once before, but he directed once one of our episodes. And it was kind of my big episode where I had the most to do. And he was just so, like, his belief in me was so just moving to me, and his trust. And I can't say enough good things about them. They were really incredible. I really, really loved working with them. And because I only had one episode, it was all in that episode that you knew it was going to be done really well and with so much taste. So that was really cool. I think you can tell pretty fast if it's going to be special. Yeah.
So we're not going to be seeing Haneen in season 2, but what do you think she's up to in that time?
I think, well, she's moved to America and she has her kids back, and I think she's just trying to get them back to normalcy. I don't imagine that it's easy for the kids. They just lost their father. Obviously, the son has gone through a terrible ordeal. He's had to see his mother leave him in a moment that, you know, she's betraying, in his eyes, their father. And then the father tells him that his mother's dead. And then they go on this incredibly terrifying journey to America where they're almost killed. And then his father gets killed. And so I think he's pretty traumatized. And so I imagine that's its own challenge between them. And so I think that she would just be dealing with that stuff. I've actually thought about it a little bit, you know? So it's funny you're asking me because there was something about her that like lingered in me, and those kids really impacted me. I got so close to them. And so when we wrapped, it was as if I was like leaving my children. It was so deep and intense that I still feel kind of like tethered to them in a way. So I think that's really true for her. I think she's just, her life's about them. Hopefully she's figuring out something to do for herself too. That would be nice. Yeah.
And finally, I want to ask about what you're working on now. Instead, you're on Altered Carbon season 2, and I also want to ask about the show Habiti that is being adapted from your life. What's the status of that one?
Yeah. So I'm working on Altered Carbon for another month, which has been super fun, except the smoke, as you know. And then yeah, Habibti is one of the projects I've been writing, and it's evolved a lot. Right now, it's really about these three women in LA. One of them has started a podcast in her spare time, and it's about everything from sexuality in the Arab world to culture and her and her friends' lives. And they basically get together and just talk about everything from their parents to their own personal lives. And in the pilot episode, she gets an opportunity from somewhere like Apple to really make it mainstream, and they want her to be, you know, the face of of the Muslim revolution, and that's not her intention at all. She's actually just been wanting to share the things that are so taboo for her to talk about, you know, and give a platform for women to do that. So she takes that opportunity, even though it's sort of exploiting a part of her that isn't really her. And in the meantime, she has to also make a decision whether the podcast is so important that it's worth it to really disappoint her family, because her family is really private and really not okay with that sort of way of talking and sharing. And at some point in the first few episodes, she has to make a really hard decision about the capacity in which her family will be in her life. And they basically tell her, if you want to do this, we can't be there for you. And so she has to cut her family out. She basically chooses to let them go. And so you see someone that's dealing with what it means to become a woman and what it means to do that without your family, and the pros and cons of finding your individuality in that way, but also the loss of people you care about, and eventually how they come back together. And her story with her female friends, these two other Arab girls, and what they're going through. And so I think it'll be really special. We don't have anything on TV like that. And it's something that I've always wanted to do, something that really mirrored me and my friends' lives in a truthful way.
Thank you, Dina, very much for chatting. I hope to see Jack Bryan at the Emmys this summer. To our viewers, you can predict whether it will be there on goldderby.com. And please also subscribe to this channel.
I will. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.